Hey everyone, welcome to week 10. I just wanted to run through a couple things about the paper um, in the introduction for this week. So remember that when you submit part two, you are able to make revisions to part one. So if you're not happy with your grade on part one, what you can do is take my feedback, make some revisions, and then resubmit part one when you submit part two, and I will reevaluate um, part one and raise the grade. So remember, I think I said this in one of the announcements or in one of the synchronous sessions. These are drafts, so we're building them over the course of the semester, and drafts are things that are meant to be revised. So view this as a work in progress, and if you're interested, take the chance to make some changes if you like. You don't have to resubmit part one until part two is due, and that's not due for a couple weeks. So you've got time to be working on both of these things. A couple of words about quotes. Generally, they shouldn't be used, and the issue for that, the reason for that is quotes. Using quotes tells me that you've found the information, but not that you've thought about it. And really, at the graduate level, what your task is to show me that you understand, that you've really mastered the material, so that you can talk about it really using your own words. You may have heard the term paraphrasing, perhaps as an undergraduate or sometime before that. Paraphrasing is fine at the undergraduate level. At the graduate level, what you're really doing is synthesizing and integrating information from multiple sources. More on that here in a second. Essentially, what you're doing is building a narrative or a discussion of the issues. You're citing your claims or your assertions, and you're using cites from a wide range of sources. At the after you've sort of written a section, most of those most of the sentences in a given paragraph should be cited, maybe 60%, 70% or so. And in any given paragraph, particularly a body, like a paragraph that's in the body of the middle body of the paper, most of those paragraphs should have multiple cites from multiple sources. The secondary issue with quotes is that they really have to be cited in a special way, and if they're not cited in a special way, it's a very minor form of plagiarism. It's not a major form of plagiarism, but it's a minor form. And that's not even something we've covered, and I do that purposefully, because we really just, we should be writing without quotes. If you're struggling with writing, schedule a time to talk with me on the phone. We can have some conversations about how to move your writing sort of into a space where you're synthesizing and integrating. Remember too that there are writing and APA lectures on UB Learns, and I'm going to show you where they are real quick. So if this is UB Learns, again, my view looks a little bit different just because it's the instructor view. If you go to Learning Resources, and then if you click on this folder, APA Resources and Guidance, lecture about writing at the graduate level. Again, there's a few things that are not available to you here, but there's a lecture on Introduction to APA, a sample paper with APA formatting. It's in a PDF and a Word document format. This is the lecture that goes along with these slides up here. And then this is the slides that go with the lecture that's right here, Introduction to Synthesizing and Integrating, and that's in two parts. I don't think this lecture is really any longer than 25 minutes or so. The APA lecture is probably only 10 minutes. So watch those videos, and again, if you're struggling, schedule a time to talk with me. The single most important thing you can do with any paper is proofread it. Proofreading catches really minor errors that really detract from the overall quality of a paper, and that's really important. The other thing that proofreading does is it helps with clarity. So if there's something that's not clear, proofreading is going to catch that. it is, like I said, the single most important thing you can do. It's difficult to do. It's difficult to sort of train yourself to do it. What I do is I actually read things out loud. That forces me to read them pretty slowly, and it forces me to read them in my own voice. But I do read things out loud before I submit them, or before I send them off to a co-author or something like that. Real quick, what are the APA things that I'm looking for? Times New Roman is the font. The font size should be 12 point. Um, Headings and subheadings should be used generously and formatted correctly. That stuff's discussed in the APA manual. Should have a running head, page numbers. Everything should be double spaced. There should be no more than a double space anywhere. And then your references should be formatted correctly. On the title page, include the name of the paper, your name, the class information, and the date. If you include my name, that's fine. You don't need to. And then also make sure you have a running head and a page number. You do not need to include an abstract. I wouldn't deduct if you did include one, but I think you need to spend your time writing one. Probably more important to spend your time on the body of the paper. Few other just general announcements. I'm working on quizzes now, and I just got. I'm recording this actually on Friday, October 25th. I just got the mid-semester evaluation, so I have to figure out what the response rate is. I will add the bonus here in the next couple of days. If you get worried about your grade, you want to discuss something, let me know. If you're missing any grades, let me know. If you didn't submit something, let's talk so that we can talk about getting something submitted if it's an assignment or a discussion or something like that. So this is week 10. We're talking about sampling. Sampling is how participants are selected for inclusion in a research study. So two big categories of sampling: random and non-random sampling, and I'll talk about those things in the lecture for this week. As you're watching the lecture, think about ethics. So ask yourself, if someone is selected to participate in a research study, does that mean they have to participate in a research study? Our discussion about ethics from a few weeks ago should help you develop an answer to that question. So I'll end. This update's a little longer than usual. But again, remember that you can make revisions to that paper when you go to submit that second part. Have a great week, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Bye-bye.